Good evening and welcome back to Mo's channel. Today is August 7th, 2019. Now, El Paso, Texas. A bunch of Mexicans killed. Pittsburgh. A bunch of Jewish people killed. South Carolina. A bunch of black people killed. Nobody is addressing the real problem. Why do I say that? If I have a cold and I'm coughing, sneezing, runny nose, stuffy eyes, that's a symptom. If I go to the doctor, tells me take this, take this, take that, it will cure the symptoms. I'll get over my cold maybe in a week, 2 weeks. But what if I have a lung disease? What if I have a heart disease? What if there's something in my endocrinological system that's causing me to have these symptoms? When the doctor treats the cold, their lung disease does not go away. It keeps getting worse. When the doctor treats the runny nose, that problem in my glands in my endocrine system does not go away. Western thinking, Western medicine, Western philosophy, Western culture is focused on the symptoms and not the root cause. So we have people shot, people shot, people shot, people shot. Oh, we need new gun laws. We need background checks because it's crazy people that are shooting people. Really? Yes, of course, you gotta be out there to just walk out there and shoot a bunch of people. But that's just a symptom. White supremacy is a problem. That's just the symptom. So let's talk about the root causes of these situations and how or if those root causes can be addressed. White supremacy is an extreme of white racism. See, when they sat there and they said, because we have ISIS and Al-Qaeda and whoever else, and they're blowing shit up and they're killing people, first of all, Laden's problem was not the U.S. Bin Laden's problem was the Saudi monarchy. Because Laden himself said, my problem with the U.S. is that they have their troops stationed on holy Muslim soil. That was his problem. Now, those troops were there because in the 1970s, Nixon made an agreement with the Saudis that if you sell all your crude, if you settle all your crude oil for dollars, we'll provide security for the Saudi monarchy. So it was because of the Saudi monarchy that U.S. troops were stationed on Meccan soil. So Laden's problem was the Saudi monarchy, never America. Iran. They call America the great Satan. Why is that? The West went to Iranians, told them, all right, you need to have democracy and you need to elect a government. The Iranians said, all right, man, we'll do that shit. And they elected a government. And the CIA came into Iran and overthrew the government the Iranians had democratically elected and installed the Shah of Iran. Ayatollah Khomeini came along and overthrew the Shah. And because of that, they hated America. So those are the root causes. Now, when I say racism is the root cause of white supremacy, you have to understand not all white people in this planet exhibit racism. I will say that again. Not all white people on this planet exhibit racism. My sister, my older sister, has lived in Switzerland and worked in Switzerland for about 5 years. Now she lives in Germany and works in Germany. And I hope that girl relearned her German. Because when she was in Switzerland, she knew German. 3 years later, she forgot it. And I said, why? You took all this time to learn this language just to forget it? So now she's in Germany. I hope she learns German, and I hope she remembers. As a matter of fact, I will learn German, and I will speak to her in German to make sure she does not forget it. But I asked my sister, are Europeans racist? Or are they as racist as Americans? No, that's what she said. I have friends who have been stationed in Germany, Italy, Britain, with the U.S. military. And I've asked them, are Europeans as racist as Americans? No. I have friends who have lived in Europe. And I've asked them, are Europeans as racist as Americans? The answer is no. I've been to Canada. Overall, about 1.5 years. I was out there in business. I was in Toronto, I was in Montreal, I was in Vancouver. I never sensed racism against those Canadians. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, from what I understand, racism primarily exists. That is, racism against black people primarily exists amongst Americans and Australians. From what I understand, and Israelis. From what I understand, Europeans, Canadians are not nearly as racist as Americans. But let's expound, shall we? You have what I'd call two forms of racism, if you could say that. You have institutional racism, which is enforced by governments, by businesses, and by the organs of society. When I, as a black man, go into a bank to apply for a loan, and I have better credit and a better income than a white man, but the white man gets a loan at a better rate, that is institutional racism. When the police pull me over as a black man, get me out of my car, have me sit on the curb, yet when they pull a white man over, they leave him sitting in his car. That is institutional racism. When the courts impose tougher sentences on black defendants given similar circumstances than white defendants, that is institutional racism. That's very easy to defeat. Very easy. Policing. Implement a citizen's commission to which the chief of police reports. So the mayor may appoint the chief. The city council may approve the appointment. But the citizens' commission oversees the chief. If someone is shot by police, the citizens' commission investigates. And if they so feel, they, not the prosecutor, but they, the citizens' commission, will bring charges against a policeman. Banking, very simple. For every applicant that applies for a loan, the bank must maintain the record, information about the applicant, age, sex, race, and so forth, income, so forth, credit report, credit history, and the result, were they approved, were they denied. That information is sent to a body within the Federal Reserve that reviews it. And based on that, you can quickly and easily identify banks or financial institutions which are engaging in racism. And you find them or you take away their state charter, so they can no longer function in the financial field. Court systems. The Congress can impose sentencing guidelines on the judiciary. Review on a periodic basis the adjudications handed down by judges or juries, the procedural methodology employed by prosecutions, and when you find a trend, a pattern of discriminatory behavior, you penalize that judge, that prosecutor, that city, that state. Institutional racism is not hard to defeat. The will has to be there, and enforcement has to be stringent. The other form of racism that is much more difficult to defeat is what I would call personal racism. I'm a black man, and I feel I'm better than you, a white man. That's where it starts. Now, where it leads is that I have no need to respect you as a white man because you're inferior to me. So I treat you like shit. I don't treat you with any respect, with any accord, because to me, you're like a fucking animal. So, fuck you. That kind of racism is rooted in personal beliefs. But those beliefs are attained from society. Look at it this way. You take a group of little kids, toddlers, 3 years old. I have seen them. A little white 3-year-old kid, a little black 3-year-old kid, a little Asian 3-year-old kid, a little Hispanic 3-year-old kid, and you put them together. And you put them together. You will not see the white kids gravitating together. You will not see the black kids gravitating together, or the Asian kids, or the Latino kids. Kids being as curious as they are, you'll see a little black kid just walk up to a little white kid, start talking, playing. You'll see a little Asian kid walk up to a little Mexican kid, stop talking, playing. They'll all play together because at that age, at that stage, they do not understand that one race is supposedly superior and the other race is supposedly inferior. I've had little kids in LA. I got my two little buddies. Well, I have my two little buddies. A little Mexican girl, a little Chinese girl. They lived in the neighborhood I lived in. When I come home, they see me. They're there at their house, on the porch. I come home from work. They come running to me. How you doing, blah, blah, blah. We chill. Little Mexican kid, little Asian kid. I'm a black man. I'm a dark-skinned black man. I'm not a light-skinned black man. I'm not a mulatto. I'm 100% nigger. I'm not an Oreo. But these little Mexican or Asian kids see me and they're like, wow, that's our buddy. I've been to fields. I play sports. I go to parks to practice. I've been to fields, batting baseballs. One time, 4 or 5 little white kids, about 8 years old, came running up to me. Hey, can we catch a ball for you? So, racism. You take a little white kid, a 1-year-old, a 2 years old, a 3 years old. That little white kid does not in any way look at a black person and say that's a piece of shit. That little white kid does not look at a Mexican and say, oh, that's an illegal trying to invade my country. That little white kid does not look at a Muslim, an Arab, let's be precise, an Arab Muslim, and say that's an evil terrorist trying to kill me. What that little white kid sees is a human being. And as is little kids, that's how they learn, that's how they grow. Take developmental psychology and you'll understand. They observe. They hear. Okay, that's a different looking man. Let me see how he walks. That's a different looking woman. Let me see what she does. And they learn. But what they're learning is appreciation for other cultures. They're not learning racism. When they start to get 4, 5 years old, when they could speak, when they could understand what is being said, and they start to watch cartoons, the heroes are all white. They start to watch television, movies. The heroes are all white. They go to school, learn about American history. The white man is on top. Everyone else is on the bottom. That is how Americans learn to be racist. Now, you'd say, well, I have intelligence. I can discern what is right from wrong. But if the story ended there, that would be one thing. You bring another ingredient into the mix called white privilege. What is white privilege? Because many white people have said, I'm white, I have no privilege. Really? It's subtle little things. How do the police treat a white man when they pull him over versus a black man? I have seen with my own eyes and heard with my own ears white men arguing with police, and I have never seen a police take out